Stop suffering yourself all in the name of budgeting, saving, cutting costs. In this video, if you watch it to the end, you will learn how to budget and still enjoy the good things of life. Okay? Hi Mumsies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're watching me, my name is Lady Teresa, the Money Goddess. And in this video, I am going to show you how you can actually live a life that is well budgeted and still enjoy the amazing things in life that you truly want. All right. Now let's start from asking that question. What is budgeting really? Because budget is something that it either scares people or it gives them shame, or they're just ashamed to budget, or they are afraid to budget, or they just feel like it is some kind of punishment. I watched a video where the lady said when she hears budgeting, it almost looks like dieting. And that is why some people don't like diet. So the reason people don't like dieting, or the reason people don't like budgeting, is the same reason people don't like dieting. It's almost like a punishment, all right? But I can assure you that today's video would break down budgeting. That's why we call it the ABC of budgeting. We're not going to use big words. We're not going to, speak grammar. We are here to break down budgeting so that you can fall in love with it and so that it can actually serve you instead of you seeing it as a punishment. All right. So like I said, what exactly is budgeting? Budgeting is basically you giving your money work. That's it. You know how a company is looking for employees, they'll create a job description, and based on that job description, you would apply to work in that organization. And so when they give you the job, this is your work. They are going to judge you based on what they have given you to do. I want you to look at budgeting that way. Budgeting is simply you giving your money work. You are giving it job. You are telling it, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. And I don't know why people would, struggle with it. I also struggled with it in the past. And that's why I'm doing this video today, because now that we know what budgeting is, let's now discuss why people don't budget or why people don't like budgeting. The number one reason why people don't like budgeting is fear. Some people like to avoid confrontation. All right. So because they don't want to see how bad their finances are, they wouldn't budget. They wouldn't do any form of money activity. They just want to live life one day at a time. That's number one reason. They are afraid to actually see reality. They are afraid. They are kind of like even anticipating much more than is actually the case. Because the thing about fear, you know how they say that fear is always knocking on the door. And if you have the courage to open that door, you would notice that there is nobody at the other side. But as long as you keep holding on, you keep stopping yourself from opening the door, it would almost look like it's a huge monster across the door, and fear would continue to knock. So that's the same thing with budgeting. A lot of people are afraid to see their reality. They feel like if they sit down and start budgeting or writing down their money activities, they would realize how bad they are with money. They will realize the kind of terrible relationship they have with money. And because of this fear, they don't want to take that action in the first place. Your brain would always prevent you from taking actions that would bring fear or that will bring shame to you. Why? Because the brain first and foremost wants to protect you. All right. So it would always keep making you procrastinate on those things. Why? Because of that fear of facing your reality. But guess what? Like I said, open that door. You will realize that there's nobody at the door. Or even if there's somebody at the door, it will be something very little. All right. Another reason why people don't like budgeting is because of shame. So shame and fear, they are kind of like related, but they are different. So people don't like to budget because of that shame. They don't want to feel ashamed of how bad they are with money. All right. And so they will continue to push it and procrastinate. And at the end of the day, one whole year will go by and they cannot specifically say, this is what I did with my money. This is the money that came in. This is what I did with it. All right. In fact, the only thing that saves us in this part of the world is because you have to file for tax. And so you're able to just bring out those numbers that you need to use for filing. But you do not actually take time to sit down and look at your money activities, look at the inflow, look at the outflow, check how you are doing, and ask yourself, this money, is it actually going where I want it to go? All right. So shame is a major reason why people don't like to budget. The third one, I've already mentioned it. They see budgeting as some kind of punishment. They see it as some kind of restriction. You know, like I said, the way some people don't like to diet. There are just some people just don't like to diet just for that fact that they see it like it's some kind of punishment. Why would there be food in front of me and I should not eat? You know, so they don't want any form of voluntary punishment. And that's the same way they see budgeting. But like I said, the reason we even have this, whether it's the fear, whether it's the shame, whether it's the punishment aspect of it, is because we are kind of like making it too strict. Budgeting does not have to be strict. And today, on this video, we are going to break it down like a pro. Right, so now let's get into the budgeting activities and let's do it as simply as possible. So follow me on this journey. So the first thing I would like to say is that awareness is the first stage of change. You need to at least become aware of your financial situation. Don't be that person who is afraid to open the door. Because the more you are afraid, have you been in a dark place? For those that are afraid of the dark, in the night, you're in your room, and then you wake up, and then you're seeing something that looks like a monster. And then all you needed to do was just to turn on the light. And when you turn on the light, you realize that that so-called monster is just clothes hanging, So that is the place of awareness of the financial situation. It is just like turning light on that darkness. And that is the first step. That is actually the first step to change. Turn light on that darkness. So awareness is the first stage when you are ready to budget. And what does awareness involve? It requires you to actually list out all your money activities. List it out. We're not here to judge. It's a no judge zone. I have my money book and I will show you. This is my money book. Okay. So every month, you could do it on the last day of the month. You could do it in the beginning of the month. Pull out your bank statement, and some people use apps and all that. Me, I like to feel it. All right. So if you can use apps, use app. If you can just bring out the good thing about Canada. All right. For those that are living in Canada or in this Western world, the good thing about this part of the world is that most of your money, most of your expenses can be traced. It is not like in some countries where maybe there are no cards. Like I've been here almost 4 years and I don't think I have spent cash. If I've spent cash in this country, it's not more than 2 or 3 times. All right. So the good thing about it is that every single money you're actually spending can be traced. All right. So at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, pull out your book, your money book. Always have a money book. Okay. Pull it out and just list out. You're not there to judge yourself or say, why did I buy this? Why did I buy that? No. Just list it out. List out every single thing you spent money on. That's the expenses. Then list out every single income that came. Whether someone dashed you $100, whether you won $50 in a lottery, whether it's $10, as long as it was an inflow, you write it down. All right, so list out everything that has come in and then list out everything that went out. That is the first step. Okay, once you're done, the next step is now money categorization. The second step is just for you to categorize where the money went to. Because if you do not categorize it, then you would not know how to position it for the next month. All right. And like I said, we're not here to speak big grammar. We're breaking things down on this video. And I want to just use 3 categories. There are so many others, but I'm just going to break it down into 3. So when you've listed down every single thing you spent money on in the month, go back to February or whenever you're watching this video, just go back to the previous month and list out every single thing you spent on. Now put a category on it. It could either be a need, or want, or savings/investment. All right. So it's either need, want, or savings and investment. And I'll break it down. What is need? Need in very simple terms. Needs are those things that you are purchasing because they are urgent and they are important. Things that you've spent money on because they were urgent and they were important. Now, let me even stop you there before you start thinking that because something is on sales, that means it's urgent. All right. No. Let's not go there. Okay. Because something is on sales does not mean it is urgent. So urgency means this thing is time bound and it is important. So food, shelter, clothing, medical, all those basic needs of life, that's what they are called, basic needs. They are urgent and they are important. You need to pay your rent if you're paying rent, because the rent is important because you need shelter, and it is urgent because there is a timeline to make a payment. If you don't make payment, they can pursue you, or it can affect your credit score, whatever. All right, they can send it to collection, So anything that is urgent and important. So that urgency that I'm talking about it has an implication if you don't do it. So that's why I said that something is on sales does not mean it's urgent. So each of those things you've written, you've listed down, and you say, okay, I pay for rent. Is this thing urgent and important? You take it as a need. If it is not urgent, and I didn't say or, so it must be urgent and it must be important. So if you see a particular purchase and that purchase maybe is urgent, yeah, it could be time bound, but it is not important, then it is not a need. Or you see something that is actually very important, but it is not urgent, then it's not a need. So that's how you categorize needs. Needs are things that are urgent and important. Now you tick it. You just keep ticking. Identify all the needs from those things that you have spent money on in the month. Now the second category are the wants. All right. The wants are things that are important, but they are not urgent. All right. Like I said, I have a book, so we're going to be looking at some of my own categories, right? Because I always do this, and since I started doing that, my money, even people that knew me, like people that know me before now, they were like, wow, your relationship with money has really improved. Because I used to be someone that would spend. Why? Because we're in this life to enjoy ourselves, right? So I have always been that spend. But I always ended up feeling guilty. I always ended up feeling like, why am I making all this money and I don't have anything to show for it, right? So since I started doing this activity, I spend more confidently, and I actually now have a lot more to spend. Because it doesn't mean, that's why I say it's not punishment. When you budget right, it is not punishment. It is just you giving your money work. You are giving it job description. That is what budgeting is. So let me look for one of my wants. So we know what needs are. All right, let's not go there. We already know what needs are: food, shelter, clothing, anything that is urgent and important. Those are the needs. Now the wants are things that are important to you, but they're not really urgent. And I'll give an example. So let me just pick one. So I bought this product. Yeah, I put it under a category of splurge. All right, splurge. So there's a product I bought. It's called Spoiled Child. I don't know if you're in this part of the world, you must have been seeing that advert. It's a collagen drink. All right, and I saw that advert over and over and over. It's important to me. We need it, right? We need collagen. As we're getting older, we need those products. So they are important to us, but are they urgent? If I don't buy it this week, will I die? If I don't buy it this week, will they arrest me? If I don't buy it today, as I'm seeing this ad, will something happen? No. So those are what? Wants. They are not needs. I want it. Let me see what else I can see here. Food. When I say food, I don't mean food for the house. I don't mean grocery. I'm talking about, I love eating out. It's one of the things I love in this world. And I keep telling myself, all those DIY people that just don't want to spend money out, I'm not in that category. Because why would I be working and making all this money and I cannot just take myself out? I cannot just go and do Chinese buffet. So I always write it down. And I have put them in that category of wants. They are important to me. These are things that are important to me, but they're not necessarily urgent. Like if I don't do it today, I can do it tomorrow, right? If I don't do it this week, I can still do it next week. right? So that's the second category. Now you look at everything you spent money on and you check which one of them were needs and which one of them were the wants. All right. Now the last one is the savings and investments. So I put it as savings and investment. They are similar, but they're not the same. All right. So savings is just the money you're putting aside for the future. The money you're putting aside for the future. Investment is not necessarily you putting money aside for the future. You are still planting that money, but there are different kinds of investment. There are investments in yourself. So investment does not necessarily have to be you putting money to multiply money. So when you invest in yourself, that is investment. So when you're buying courses, when you're any form of education, as long as, because this is where we get it wrong, as long as you can tie that education to money multiplication, that's when it becomes an investment. So don't be that person who just buys a course, for example. You're not going to read, you're not going to study it, you're not going to apply it, and then you call it an investment. No, it is not an investment. So as long as you can tie where that money is going, you can tie it to it bringing back more money for you, then that is when it is considered an investment. All right. While savings is just you growing money. So part of the savings can go towards investment, but they are two different things. So investment is you growing money or you taking actions that are going to bring back more money for you. All right. So that is the categorization, right? So the first thing we've done is we've listed down everything, whether it's food, whether it's Uber, whether it's what are the things on my book, whether you went to H&M, anything. You need to write them down. Write them down now. Start categorizing them. Which one is a need? Which one is a want? Which one is savings and investment? Once you're done, you will now look at your ratio. Now, the ratio is where you may need to do some adjustments. All right. So there is a very standard one. Like I said, we're not here to make things complicated or complex. There's a very standard one, which is the 50-30-20 rule. Okay, it's a very common one. If you're just starting with budgeting, use this. So 50% of all this income, all this inflow should go towards your needs. 30% should go towards your want, and 20% should go towards savings and investment. Now, when you finish categorizing it, you will now ask yourself, okay, all these needs, what was the percentage? How much of my total income was the need? And how much of my total income was the want? So some people, you would see that they end up becoming like 95-5 instead of 50-30-20. Some people are 95. Some people are even 100-0-0. Some people are 90-10-0. Right? So you now know where you need to score yourself at this point. That is part of the awareness. You need to score yourself. Now, let me now clarify, because I always say you don't need to suffer yourself in this life. You don't need to say, oh, I will never buy Starbucks again. I will never eat out again. That's not the point of budgeting. The point of budgeting is that you should give your money work. So the question now is, depending on your family, I actually broke it down into three types of formula. So the 50-30-20 is the standard, but some people, maybe based on your responsibilities, the need can become 60, the want can become 20, and the savings can become 20. Or if things are really, really bad for you, the need can become 80, the want can become 10, and the savings can become 10. But this is like the standard. Anything outside of this, it doesn't mean you should suffer yourself. It just means you should earn more income. You can't have 100% of your income going to needs. You shouldn't. So if you see that more than 60% of all your income, if you're earning $1,000 in a month and $600 goes into your needs, because it's going to affect these other ones. It's going to mean that you're going to live a life where you're not even enjoying yourself. Because when you spend on needs, it doesn't bring enjoyment. It doesn't bring joy. It doesn't bring fun. There's nothing fun about paying rent. There's nothing fun about even paying school fees. I know in your mind you're like, you're fulfilled. You're at peace because nobody's coming to arrest you. But peace is not the same as joy. peace is not the same as fun. So you can't work the whole month and you're not spending money on something that gives you joy or something that is fun for you. All right. So you look at that ratio. If it is more than 60% going to needs, then you need extra income. Because the first time I did it, I was like, no. I need to start making money. I need to start making more money, right? So instead of saying, I'm not going to buy Starbucks anymore. No. I need to make more money so that I can have more money going towards Starbucks. I need to make more money so that I can have money going towards Netflix. Not that I shouldn't watch Netflix anymore because I'm saving money. That is when it becomes a punishment. That is when it becomes diet. All right, so this is not starvation. Point of correction, it's not actually diet. So what we do, that's the difference between diet and starvation. All right, so this time around, do not starve yourself. We're just on a little diet. We're not starving ourselves. So you look at that ratio. Once you've done your ratio and you have more things going to needs, then you need extra income. And once you realize you need extra income, don't also allow fear stop you from taking those actions. I have people we've done this analysis. You need extra income. I show you this way that you can use to earn extra income. They will say, oh, that makes sense, it's good, it's fine. But then they are still stuck. They are not taking action. And so they still remain stuck, still wondering why life is not moving forward. Do you understand now? So no, once you realize that you need that extra income, it is not extra job. It is not second job, third job. Please, this is 2024. 2024 is not when you should start having 2 jobs, 3 jobs, please. It just means that you need to leverage. You need to find out, how can I leverage my time? How can I leverage my skill? How can I leverage people to make extra income without having another set of 8-hour job or another set of 4-hour job? No. We don't have that time. Remember what I said the last time, that time, you don't use time. Right? So you find out how you can leverage it, find out how you can collaborate with it. Okay? So this is our ABC of budgeting. This is the budgeting made easy. Did you get value from this? And if you got value, the only way you can show me that you got value is by picking up your money book. Can you see? Can you see everything I've written down? Pick up your money book. Just go to the last month that just finished and write those things down. It even gives you an idea of the things that bring fun to your life. You will finally realize that, I noticed that I buy this kind of things, because that's how I realize how obsessed I am with education. I'm so obsessed with buying courses, trainings, things like that, until I now realize that because they are wants and not needs, I can actually control it. So I stopped seeing it as it's urgent, I need to buy it now. And that's one tip I want to leave you with when it comes to how you can control those wants, because the wants can end up becoming an obsession or obsessive compulsive disorder. All right, it could actually become a disorder. So I'll leave you with this tip. This is how you can control those wants. Because they are wants, it means they are important to you, but they're not urgent. Once you have that impulse to get this particular thing, and remember what you've done. The first month you've done the ratio and you've seen that there are some people that they are even spending more on wants than on needs. All right, or you're actually spending more on wants than you want to. It is now affecting your savings and investment. So one way you can control it is get a book. Once you feel like buying that particular thing, do not just go and buy it. Get a book. I have a book called The Unicart. It's like Amazon is like your cart, where when you're buying something, you move it to cart. You're just moving there. You don't have to pay yet. Just move it there. So I also have my own cart that if I see anything I want to buy, I go there and I put it there. And I tell myself that these things, I will buy them as a reward. So I give myself work. And I say, if you're able to earn this extra income from this other, if there's any form of extra income, then you can use that extra income to shop from this cart. You cannot use your regular money to buy from this thing. And it motivates me to actually get those things done. It could be a bonus for my work, it could be an extra gig that I'm doing that brings in money, and then I know that, yeah, this is my reward. I split that money as usual. That's a topic for another day. We'll talk about it. And then I know that I can take care of these things without feeling guilty. All right. So I hope you got value from today's topic, and I hope it was as simple as promised. This is truly the ABC of budgeting. So if you want to have more one-on-one conversations on how to budget better, or you need accountability, you can just type it in the comment or send me a message. My contact is in the description box. Just send me a message. I'll be glad to sit with you, look through your numbers, and we can come up with the perfect formula that works for you. All right. So on that note, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.